My name's Josh Forbes, and today we've got a very special guest, Mr. Scott Benson. Scott's a firefighter paramedic in Southern California with over 14 years of experience, both fire and EMS related. He's been a paramedic for 8 years. He's worked in some rural mountain areas over there in California, and then now he's in a very busy and active city. With that being said, Scott, the floor is yours.
How's it going? Josh pretty much said it there. I work for Riverside County Fire. We are a contract county for CAL FIRE, and we are primarily Schedule A. Um, like he also said, I come from a slower department in the mountains. I was there for 9 years, but we did a lot of Wild West stuff there, and I learned a bunch. So it's kind of nice to have both sides of things. A little bit more about myself. Single income household, got a wife, two kids. They are one just turned 7 yesterday, and the other one's 1 years old. And my girl and I've been together 17 years. That's a little bit about me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So getting into that, like you mentioned that you're a single income household, like that's got to be a lot of, responsibility and pressure on you. How do you go about dealing with that? And, how do you make it work? Everybody knows that we don't get into this line of work to get rich, but how do you make it work for you?
Honestly, a bunch of overtime. That's the only way, only way to make it work. Yeah, I average like 450 hours a month. No joke. I got a side business. I clean windows on the side, which I'm trying to give that up. That's
Mhm.
one reason why I'm starting this whole social media thing to kind of branch out on some other avenues. So I'm not doing
Yep.
some physical labor.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So it's cool though. I got an awesome wife. She's a rock star. She handles all the household stuff. Very traditional family, so she makes it really easy on me. Tough part is obviously I'm gone a lot, but wouldn't
Yeah.
have it any other way. So she's at home raising the kids. They're not in daycare, getting raised by someone else, and this is
Yeah.
how you do it.
Yeah. And that's, the big thing there is I've talked about in previous episodes, like the support system at home. You know, we're the face that everybody sees on somebody's bad day, but nobody sees the faces at home of what I would say keeps us going, taking care of our life outside of the firehouse, right?
Mhm.
And it sounds like you've hit that one on the head to a T. You've kind of figured that system out, like how it works for y'all. And man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs. Obviously, there's mental struggles on my side, being gone all the time. Then same thing with her, she's dealing with them two boys all the time.
Yeah.
So it has its ups and downs, but there's more ups.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. I know that's something that a lot of people question. They're just like, how does this work? Like, because 24, 48, 72. I think I just watched one of your videos. You were gone for 9 days.
Mm,
So, like, that's not only tough on you, but that's tough at home too. And, you've got to have that support system, at least not even necessarily from a spouse, but even if you still live at home with mom or dad, like, you've got to have that support behind you to keep everything moving forward.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Being together so long, her and I were together prior to the fire department, so that makes it a bit easier. It's been an adjustment that we both have made over the years, and now it's just normal. You know how it is.
yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I love that. So tell me, what is your work life like? So I'm over here, Eastern North Carolina. California's a whole different ball game. Like we see the videos and everything, at least from y'all over here. So like, what is that like? I mean, we don't have big wildfires. I'm not big city. Like, so tell me, what's that like?
Um, it's pretty rad, dude. Honestly, that's one way to put it. I love what I do. Like I said, I work at a very busy station right now. Fight a ton of fire and wildland stuff. I don't go on to too many strike teams, to be quite honest. If it's immediate need, obviously we're gonna go. If it's within our area, we're gonna go. But
Yep.
as far as like going on strike teams and stuff, I'm Schedule A. So the last place they're trying to send me is out on a wildland fire. That being
Yep.
said, I've been on a few of them. It is not my forte. That's why I'm a medic. Stay out of them weed boots.
Yep.
But I enjoy both of it. It's fun. We do have quite a bit. So one thing about my station is its location. We are in the middle of the shit. We got a low income housing. We have newer income housing, and it's an area that has a lot of poor families with tons of like add-ons to their homes. Nothing's up to code. We have a train
Yep.
that runs through our IA. We have a river bottom that runs through our IA with a ton of homeless. We are in the more commercial area of it as well, so we're a truck house, and so you have all the concrete tilt ups, the multi-million square foot buildings. That's the
Oh
thing
yeah.
about my station. That's rad. You get it all, man. Super gnarly, like commercial vehicle accidents, everything. So super fortunate, love it. Definitely one of those dudes. I like to be busy. I
Yep.
can't stand being at a slow house. Like every once in a while, I'll fill some overtime in a slow place, but just kind of recoup a bit. But outside of that, man, it's awesome.
Yeah. So, and that's, are you big earthquake zone there? Not really, kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of, like people that are not from California think the earthquake situation is a lot worse than it is, but
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, you don't even know it happened. You find out because like the news was on, like, oh, did you feel that? Nobody felt it, So that that's the truth on the earthquakes.
Yeah. And that was, one thing kind of leading up to this. I just got back from a USAR, a 10-day USAR school here. So, end structure collapse. And the big thing they talked about with earthquakes, I'm like, oh, well, this guy lives in, California. We'll talk to him about it. And I think it is blown up a little bit of like, I don't know. I don't live in California.
Hmm.
So, but I don't see buildings falling down every day either. So
No,
I think they're kind of engineered to not fall down as much anymore. So,
yeah, it's not even something that people think about out here. Like, it's not an issue.
yeah. So awesome, man. So you touched on a little bit of, wildland isn't your forte. You seem like a pretty solid structure guy. So the big debate, engine truck, like where are you at?
I am on an engine right now. I am working on my truck task book. So our Riverside County is a little different than a lot of departments out here. So normally, when you start on probation here in Southern California, if they do have trucks in that city, you'll start on the truck, and it's saws and jaws all the way. But our trucks are more. They have the saws and jaws, but they're also tech rescues. So we got all the struts, we got all of the stuff for rope rescues, AZVs, all that shit. So it's a specialty program. So I'm working on my truck stuff now, and hopefully here in the near future I can go and get myself transferred over to the truck. That's my main goal right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people they're dead set on they're an engine guy or they're a truck guy. So, to clear all the air up, we're gonna say you're a
Yeah.
truck guy.
Yeah, I would like to be a truck guy. I'm not one yet, but I'm working on
Yeah.
it. That is the goal. I love the engine though, dude. I'll pull hose all day long. Doesn't bother me at all. They both have their fun aspects. They both have their
They do.
downsides, but at the end of the day, I've always wanted to be a truck guy, and that's my goal.
Awesome, man. And so talking about goals, I think every department has a goal they want, not only for their employees, but you've made this a personal goal of, hey, this is where I want to go in my career. And not so much, just specifically towards the truck, but how are you managing, your home life, your work life, but also fulfilling the goals you want to do into your career? Because if you're not setting goals, you're really failing yourself. Every year our department makes us do goals of, hey, what's your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year goal? That's liable to change year to year. But how do you go about making sure you achieve that goal with the busy schedule?
Honestly, just tenacity and grit. When we were texting back and forth, I told you I had kind of a rough upbringing. I've always been a hustler at heart. And one thing, so for instance, the station that I'm at now, I've been working there for a few months, but I officially got assigned last week. And the same day I got the call to get assigned at that station, I got a call for a promotion to engineer medic. I ended up turning that down so I could stay at this truck house
Yeah.
and work on that goal. It's a lot. It's a harder thing to attain to get onto a truck there than it is for an engineer position.
Mhm.
The engineers are dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
So I obviously turned it down, called my wife. I'm like, hey, this is what just happened. And she said, you know what? I think that's the best thing for you. She's like, you are constantly grabbing at the next thing. Like, I'd love for you to just like spend a year, do your job, and just relax a bit, you know? So
Yep.
as far as attaining my goals, it's not something that I have to try to do. I have to try and pull myself back from stuff. I'm just 100% all the time. Even like this morning, woke up at 4, went crushed the gym. Now I'm here doing this. Like it's just I'm that person, you know. So
Yep.
it's real easy for me.
Awesome. Yeah. And just so everybody knows, we're on a 3 hour time difference. And if I would have known he was up at 4 o'clock this morning, I would have texted him much earlier than what I did. But, and that's for anybody who's watching or listening, like, I think goals are a huge thing. You want to set goal, and at least in my mind, you want to set goals you know you can achieve, but you don't want to set goals that are so easy that, it's just like a walk in the park,
Hmm.
right? Um, for me, I've been with my department for February makes 6 years in my paid department, and a goal that I've made over the last couple of years. I wanted all the qualifications to be an engineer, and I wanted all the qualifications to be a captain.
Hmm.
On paper, I have those. Mentally, I don't want to leave the back seat yet,
Hmm.
and so that's in my mind, I look at it as, all right. Let's say I get promoted to engineer 6 years in. There's no guarantee I can promote to captain. I may stay an engineer for the rest of my career. In my mind, I look at that. What kind of fireman am I if all I did was drive for 25 years? And that's kind of the way. And there's nothing wrong with if you want to be a driver, that's fine. But I feel like the emphasis should be why shouldn't you be allowed to stay in the position you want to without being forced to promote? Because I don't know how it is over there. It's not so much that way here, but I have heard talks about departments like if you're not putting in for promotion, like it's almost like a derogatory mark on you later down the road. So, and it's I don't agree with that. If somebody wants to be a backseat fireman for 30 years, why can't they be a backseat fireman for 30 years? Like, if they don't want to promote, that's what does it matter? As long as they're a good employee, they come to work, they do their job, and they go home. Like, what more can you ask for?
Yeah. You know what, man? We got so with our department, and everybody hates this. Okay, you can come in as an FAE off the street as an entry level, so you don't got to be a fireman there at all to
Mhm.
promote to engineer, and that's some bullshit as far as I'm concerned. How are you going
Oh
to
wow.
do
Yeah.
the job of a company officer prior to doing your job for real as a fireman? I
Yeah.
am of the frame of thought that you need to be good at your job prior to promoting. You know, you need to know what
Absolutely.
that guy's job is before you're trying to tell him what to do. We do have quite a few career firemen at our department, and these dudes, even the captains listen to these guys. Like they are very well respected guys. They know their stuff, and nobody can take that from them. You know, like obviously we all want them to promote just for retirement. Really, it's just for their retirement and their well-being in their future. But outside of that, it's like we love having them in that fireman position, and it's like you
Yeah.
see that pump roll up and Travis on it. You're like, yep, all right, we're about to go to work. You know, so big firm believer that you should know your job prior to promoting.
Absolutely. And I think not that's a paperwork thing and also like a skill thing, right? And I harp on it a lot. It's if you want to be good at something, teach it. And if you can't teach it, you're probably not great at it.
Yeah,
And that's, I don't know. I honestly don't know how California things work with teaching. I know this past year I started teaching our fire academy a little bit. And, for us, we have to take instructor classes and then we go to a qualification school and go that. And, a couple of classes I've taught, one of them was ropes and knots. Like, all right, yeah, you know what a piece of life safety rope is, you know what a piece of utility rope is, you know your handful of knots. Now teach it to somebody who has no idea how to tie a certain knot or has never seen a piece of rope before. Like, that's how you learn the craft, in my opinion. Like, I mean, besides repetitions and doing it every day.
hmm
But, and it's, I mean, we just got back from this class and a couple of people in our squad couldn't read a tape measure. How
hmm
often do you run into that?
yeah. Nowadays, quite a bit. It seems like we are no longer getting the cream of the crop. At least out here, they are hurting for dudes so bad, and I don't know if it's like that where you're at, but
Mhm.
they're taking pretty much anyone right now. Especially if you have a medic license, you're in the door, 100%. So we're getting a lot of low skill set individuals, and it's hard on everybody. It's hard on the higher ups. It's hard on the senior firemen because it's like,
Yeah.
dude, you should already know this stuff. You know, like we should be leaps and bounds beyond this before you even hit the floor.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, we're not a super huge department. I mean, I know on shift every day we have 20, 21 to 22 people every day on shift. So, I mean, again, we're not super huge there. I will say, luckily for us, we have a very high retention rate. Most people who leave us are either retiring or they're getting out of the fire service completely. For one, probably to make more money.
Hmm.
And so we're not losing a whole lot to other fire departments, really. I would say we have a very good retention thing going there. We just got a new fire chief. He's really taking care of us in that aspect of letting firemen be firemen and not so much politicians. Um, so, and I think every firehouse has politics. I know we talked about that a little bit, texting back and forth. Um, but when you talk about people coming in the door and not knowing some skills, there should be leaps and bounds about it. If you could handpick your crew, what are some of the qualities that you would look for or you would want on your crew? Not so much, we can put you in any position, whether you're the senior nozzle guy, you're the driver, or you're the captain or lieutenant on that truck or whatever. Like, when you pull up to work, what are you wanting on your truck to go to work that day?
Me personally, I like working with the like take the truck captain on my shift for example. Kind of hard to work with. He is very very experienced. He has been there. He has done that. Does not matter the situation. And he is the guy that expects perfection. And he will let you know when you are messing up right then and there. He will be up in your face. Um, that is the type of crew I like working for. The expectation is super high. He is also the hardest working captain I've ever met. There is not a time on the fire ground or on a wildland fire where he is standing with a tool in his hand. His ass is out there working right next to you the entire time. I respect that a lot. We have some really good drivers at my station too, where they were firemen for a long time, truck firemen for a long time, and they're like I said, it's hard to work for these people because the expectation is so high.
Mhm.
But that's what pushes me to be better every day. You know, it makes the hair on my neck stand up at times where it's like, dude, these guys are watching me. Like, I better be able to pull this shit out. But that's what I prefer. I want somebody who's knowledgeable and somebody who will let me know when I'm messing up as soon as I'm messing up. You know, I don't want any
Yeah.
handouts from crews, and I want to work for guys that I respect that I know have done this job.
And I feel like that's, you know, you're a subject of your environment, right? So if you surround yourself with piss poor firemen, you're probably going to be a piss poor fireman.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with, that next level of, hey, Scott, you're fucking up. You need to do better. Oh, okay. Then I know I need to do better. Like, they're setting the standard, they're holding the standard, and they're holding the accountability behind it.
Hmm.
100% agree with all that. Like, I'd rather have, I can't remember what guy said it, but it's like, you gotta watch what I'm gonna say here. But I'd rather have, 5 bad motherfuckers to go to work with than 50 who are mediocre, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's, you know, I think part of the time some people forget that this is a blue collar job. I don't know about your way, but it's like, this is a down and dirty job. It's inherently dangerous. Like, we know the risks. Like, why are we, yes, we have to be safe about it, but it's like when it's time to go to work, like, you're going to risk a lot to save a lot, right? I mean, I think
Hmm.
most very aggressive firemen are that way. It's like, when it's time to go to work, like, we'll deal with the consequences after. Like, let us do our job. Let's get it done. Let's go back to the house.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And the harder everyone works, the faster we get done with the overhaul.
yeah, absolutely. That's the part nobody likes to do because it's mopping up everything else. And um, watching some of your videos, it was I think it had to be a commercial structure. Y'all had a fire in the kitchen and pulled all the ceiling down. It's
Yeah.
like it's probably the worst part, just pulling all the hanging ceiling and the drop ceiling and
Hmm.
all that out. So, man, it's been a while. We went on a dry spell for a while and we finally caught a couple fires over the past couple weeks, and it's like, man, it feels good to get your balls back a little bit. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm
We're good. We're good for at least one every shift. Either vehicle fire, you're getting something regardless. You are putting your turnouts on and you're going to go do some work.
Mm. Yeah, I wish. We're putting our turnout gear on, but it's usually for smells and bells.
Yeah.
So I know you're a firefighter and a paramedic, so I'm going to relate with you here a little bit. My agency, we don't run ALS, so we only run as a BLS level fire department. We don't have ambulances, so my skill set at the ALS level doesn't really do anything for me at my fire department. I work on an ambulance outside of the firehouse. Inside, I'm going to assume that y'all have ambulances inside the fire station, or are they outside?
They are outside. Well, so with our county in Riverside, if you are in the desert communities, we call it the coves. They have some Cal Fire ambulances there, but within
Mhm.
our county, everything else is private ambulance ran through AMR.
Okay, gotcha. So,
So
how do you feel? What's your opinion on firehouses that are dueling both, that are fire and medic agencies?
as long as I'm not in the ambulance, I'm totally good with it. No, so I'm a big fan of it. At my last department, that rural agency, we had our own ambulances, and
Mhm.
so sometimes I was on the engine, and I was also a driver there too, and so that was cool. But sometimes I'm on the engine, sometimes I was on the box, and I think it's great for continuity because you know the crew on duty, you know what their capabilities are, you know who's
Mhm.
training these guys, and I think the level of care is a lot better just due to that continuity and being able to hold these dudes accountable. Whereas when we're running with these private agencies, sometimes you get that one crew, and you know what I'm talking about, where you're just like,
Yeah.
dude, I can't believe this guy right now,
Yeah.
and it's hard. And as the fire department, there's a unsaid rule that we're obviously I am the primary medic on the call, regardless of if I'm the transport medic. What I say is what's going to go, and that's
Mhm.
just how it is out here. Even though it's ambulance or AMR's ambulance, it is what it is. I'm the top dog when it comes to that, and it sucks sometimes. It shouldn't be like that. Everybody needs to know how to do their job and be proficient. And sometimes you get a crew that isn't, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Like you
Yeah.
can contact their supervisor, but they're just like, it's another burnout fireman hitting us up, talking crap on our
Yeah.
agents. So I like having the ambulance in house.
Okay. Yeah, and we we've debated that. I mean, not necessarily you and I, but I've had the conversations back and forth. Like when you talk to some people in my department, they're just like, absolutely not. We don't want ambulances. And then now we're seeing it a little bit more. Like out of the few firemen we have, a lot of us are going to get our medic on our own, and we're doing that somewhere else. And so my mind, at least the mindset going towards it is, I'm okay with having ambulances in firehouses as long as you're not forcing firemen to be medics who don't want to be medics. Because I feel like that's when the problem happens. When you force somebody, they get complacent, they don't care,
Yeah.
and now they're just doing the job because somebody made them do the job. Like I
Hmm.
feel like that's not even outside, or even outside of the paramedic aspect of it. It's like you go to a leadership class, and how many people raise their hand and they ask who's here for a promotion? Like you don't actually care about the class. You're just here because you have to have it for the next step of your job.
Yeah. There's a lot
So
of that going on out here in SoCal because you pretty much need to be a medic if you want to get hired full time somewhere. That's the gold card. So there's a lot of dudes that are just horrible medics because they never wanted to be a medic, but it's the only way they can get a job.
yeah, and that's I always say, if you're gonna take on the responsibility of both, you have to put in twice the effort because you can't be a half-ass fireman and a half-ass paramedic. You need to be good at both, and
Hmm.
that it takes the grit to do that. For me, when I first got my paramedic, I was a full-time fireman. I worked part-time at our hospital-based service that runs 911 and transports. But I mean, I was working every day I had off from the firehouse because I didn't want to be the mediocre part-time paramedic that didn't know how to do his job.
Hmm.
You know, am I God's gift to paramedicine? Absolutely not. Like I know I'm not the best paramedic out there, but every day I go to work, I'm trying, and I feel like as long as you're trying, you're doing better than somebody who's not.
Yeah.
And you can try all you want to. If you suck at the job, there's a time that you just need to hang it up, or someone needs to tell you like, "Hey, you ain't cut out for this."
Hmm.
Think that is a harsh reality that's not in the standard. Just because there's a nationwide shortage of paramedics doesn't mean everybody who holds a paramedic certification needs to be a paramedic.
Hmm.
I don't know what y'all's protocols are. At least our protocols here, I mean, we can do a lot. We can EJ, IO, intubate, RSI. Like, there's a lot of responsibility for somebody to hold a piece of paper who doesn't want to do that job.
Yeah. And in all honesty, I only went to medic school because I couldn't get a job, But now that I am a medic, I really enjoy it. But I am one of those dudes that did it in order to get hired somewhere. Thankfully, it worked out on the back end. But
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of dudes where it's not working out on the back end for sure.
Yeah. And it's a harsh reality because again, watching, I've seen your videos for a while now, and it's like everybody's like, well, I don't want to run the medical calls in the fire service. Even if you don't have an ambulance or a paramedic, you're gonna run EMS calls. It's the way this beast is going. I mean, if you live in a big, heavily, densely populated city, you're gonna run the fires. But I guarantee you're still running 5 times the amount of medicals than you are fires.
Yeah, even me, man. You're running 10 medicals for that one fire.
Yeah, and it is what it is. It's where we're at. Our EMS agency's so short on people. Like, you can guarantee that truck's rolling at least 3 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the way it's working. I mean, I don't know how to fix it. Unless you know how to fix it, I don't know how to fix it.
You know what? If they don't want to run the EMS shit, don't be a fireman. There's plenty of other jobs where you don't have to do EMS. So you can take the good with the bad. We all just want to run hot jobs all the time, but that's not the case, like you said, dude. So don't be a fireman.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because that's nowhere is I can't think of a single department that doesn't run some sort of kind of EMS calls.
Yeah, well, United States Forest Service, at least out here, there unless like an accident happens in front of their station, those dudes. That's the only place I can think of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're driving bulldozers. They're not fighting fire. Talking shit. So, talking a little bit about like how the fire service works, like somebody who wants to get into this line of work, whether it be fire or the outside EMS, like, what's the advice going into that? Because my mind's thinking, we're getting some cats who aren't even 21 years old yet, and then we just rolled to a vehicle versus pedestrian. This guy's scattered across the road. Like, how do you prepare somebody for that? Like, what is the advice of telling somebody getting into this line of work? Like, how do you deal with not necessarily the trauma, but like, how do you prepare yourself for the tough shit that you're going to see in this line of work?
Um, I don't think you really can prepare. You're going to handle the situation, how you're going to handle it, and when the rubber meets the road, that's when you find out whether or not you're cut out to do this. That's my personal opinion. It's not something that you can prepare somebody for because I don't know what they're going to go see, So I can tell them all day, like, you might see this, you might see that, but they might see something worse than I've seen. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, I'm sure you've ran on your fair share of pediatrics, and I don't care who you are, that affects everybody, especially
Yeah.
when those kids are like your kids' age.
Mm-hmm.
Running a code on a 3-year-old, like, that shit sucks. So you won't know how somebody's going to handle it until they start handling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's too much, they just need to get out. I don't think you really can prepare.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, like, to even if you are going to prepare for that, is like, you have to know you're going to deal with shit and you're going to have to learn how to process it. I
Mm-hmm.
think the biggest thing a lot of people don't do is they don't process it, and that's what's hurting us. Is we know it's there. We know there's the stigma of the mental health and everything else like that. And I don't really think it's a stigma anymore. Like, the calls are going to fuck with you. They're going to stay with you. You're not going to forget them. Now, how do you deal with it? You
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with it. And I think I'm going to say I know, because you have to be willing to do it yourself, because nobody's going to do it for you, right? Um, here in the past couple of years, I ran a pretty traumatic peds call. You know, it was an older pediatrics, not quite teenager level. 11 years old, ended up hanging himself. What
Mm-hmm.
11-year-old thinks of suicide? I've got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. I got home, instantly broke down going into that. Um, I don't really think my kids knew exactly what was going on. They kind of sensed Dad was upset because my 3-year-old doesn't like to cuddle, and he cuddled with me all night. But
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, after a couple of days, like, I went to a debrief, and after a couple of days, it's like, all right, it is what it is. months down the road, like that's still affecting me. Like I had to put my pride aside and sit down and go talk to somebody. And now that, it doesn't make me any less of a person, it doesn't make me any less of a fireman. If I had to say anything towards that, it's like it's made me a better fireman because one, I know how to process those things, but I also know how to recognize and communicate with somebody who doesn't how to process those things. So, um, yeah, I think it's going to happen. How it happens, that's up for somebody else bigger than me. But so I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
you
we
never
all
know how or what is going to affect you. And I've had calls exactly like that. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I had a 13-year-old same exact situation, hung herself right there in her
Yep.
room. Um, you never know what you're going to get, and you never know what's going to affect you. And it's good that you went and sought help. And that's one cool
Mhm.
thing about the fire department is it is going that direction where they are taking it seriously. Finally, as far as
Yep.
the whole mental health aspect of things. So I've never personally went and talked to anybody, but you know how it is. A lot of us just right there at the kitchen table. That's where we throw it all on the line and
Yep.
get the support from the crew, talk that shit out, and hopefully it can just stay there.
Yep. And I feel like that's, kitchen table talk or front bumper talk or even bay talk is probably like the best therapy that, even seeing a therapist that I would say is probably the biggest remedy.
Hmm.
Like even my therapist, he saw combat, but he was a volunteer fireman, but he was never a paid fireman. He was never a paramedic. Now that I'm talking with people who do the same job I do, and we're probably at the same incident I was just at, now we can all, therapize each other. I would say, quote
Yeah.
unquote. I don't know what you would say. How would you would say that? But I think the open discussion, and at least you know, I've got a pretty good company officer, and I work with some pretty good company officers that are always like, "Hey, we had this event. Are you good? Are you good? Everybody's good. All right." And then a couple hours, even a couple days later, like, "Hey, I know this is going on. How's everybody doing?" Like it's the brotherhood and the checking in on like, "Hey, is everything actually okay?" And I think you work enough, you probably know your coworkers pretty well. They probably know you better than you know yourself, vice versa. And that's, you know, I I was watching a video the other day. They don't call it a. Do y'all call your departments fire stations or firehouses?
Both. I like calling it firehouse just because it feels traditional.
Yeah, and that's we call ours different stations, but it's like, hey, I'm going to the firehouse today. Like I'm
Hmm.
spending more time with these people than I'm spending with my own family. Like it is a house. We eat dinner, we clean, and at the same time, you have to get that emotional aspect of the house in there. Like
Hmm.
I'll tell anybody, and even my current captain I have right now, like when we first started working together, we didn't get along. Now I wouldn't want to work with anybody else. So it's like I've learned his quirks, he's learned mine. We agree to disagree 80% of the time, and that's the way it goes. But at the end of the day, it's like I know if I need something, he's going to answer the phone.
Hmm.
If not answer the phone, he's going to text me back and say, "Hey, is everything okay?" And at least call me back if I need him to call me back. So, going past that a little bit, like, does SoCal have any kind of like rookie rules, rookie traditions? Like, I know the big thing going on through TikTok right now is the rookie like fighting to do the dishes because all the senior guys are trying to rip them off the sink. Like, what do y'all have?
Same shit as everyone else, full on probationary period. So Cal Fire's a little weird. We're the only department that I know that doesn't have an actual like probationary standard where like you can be let go really and all those things. We don't have like a quarterly test and stuff, but
Mhm.
we as a tradition at our firehouses hold the new guys to a probationary standard,
Yep.
so we can't make them do like a quarterly test or stuff, but we do hold them to that standard. You better be wearing your class B, first one up, last one down, coffee, dishes, the whole thing. We don't treat anyone bad. That I think that portion a lot of it's going away from the fire
Yeah.
service, regardless of the department. But you do need to hold that standard, and I think it's great because you don't want them sitting around and chilling. You want them looking at the equipment, looking at their protocols, and figuring out how to do their job. That's the whole point of the probationary period and why
Yep.
they can't sit in the recliners. you got time to sit in that recliner and then you don't know how to do your job, it does us no good, right? So that year
Absolutely.
is you're proving yourself and learning your equipment. That's why you're in the at bay when you're not doing shit, you know? That's why you're polishing brass, is you're learning that piece of equipment. It is what it is. We do most battalions, we do a end of the year skills evaluation where we take them out and they have to perform all the skills back to back to back. Really sucks, but that's how you prove yourself and get the shield on your helmet, you know? So at the end of it, it's normally, we have a truck over there and you climb the stick on the truck and your shield's at the top of that stick, you know? And so, I think that, nobody wants to go through that year of suck, but once they climb that stick and they grab that shield, it's all worth it, you know, and they earn that piece of their equipment.
Yeah.
So I think it's invaluable, and I think that it should stay. There should be a probationary policy, and it is what it is. We
Yeah.
all did it, and like I said, I've been around 14 years. It is way easier to go through probation now than it was when I went through it. Like
I'm
hazing
sure.
was a thing. Yeah. So
That's like for us, I mean, we have like a 6 month probationary period through HR, and then that extends another 6 months. Like you're still considered on your probationary period in the fire department.
mhm.
And it's, I always threw the a little bit. So when I first started in the fire service, I didn't drink coffee. And I was like, the rookie makes coffee, and they all looked at me. I'm like, I don't. For one, I don't drink coffee. For two, I don't know how to make coffee. Like, I mean, I kind of figured out how to make coffee, and they learned real quick. Josh doesn't make coffee anymore because
Mhm.
I woke up one morning and I made coffee, and I had the can of Folgers, and I just started. I filled up the entire coffee filter and made a pot of coffee. And they're just like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to make coffee no more." So it was straight jet fuel.
Yeah.
But and it was like even then, like we kind of have the unspoken rule that like the rookie tries to do dishes. Like I get the rookie's not going to make it up there every time. Especially for me, like I'm a super fast eater. Like when I'm done, I'm gonna get up and start washing dishes, and then usually get kicked up or bumped out of the way by the rookie. But I think we also have the rule like you cook, you don't clean. I don't know if SoCal's the same way. Like if you're cooking dinner, like you try to clean along the way, but when the dishes is time to be done, like we ain't washing dishes.
Yeah, we'll do that. One thing that's different, just listening to you right there, is nobody is able to get up from the table until the captain is done and gets up. So they are the one that's like, all right, we're all clear, everybody good. When they get up, that's when everybody gets up, and
Mhm.
then it's a fight to those dishes. And even even somebody like I'll say I'm a senior fireman at this point. I still do all the same proby shit that I did, you know, especially going into this new house that I'm at.
Yep.
I'm the one who's making the coffee. I'm the one who's doing the dishwasher. I still race to those dishes every time. And after 14 years, I'll never change. You see a company officer with a broom in their hand, you better believe I'm going to try and steal that thing from them, you
Yep.
know? So, that's something that I think we're also missing and lacking in the fire service is people just don't have that pride anymore. You know, that
Yeah.
company officer earned that spot. There's a reason why the ranking system is there, and there's no reason why they should be doing work when I'm standing. So,
Yep. And that's one thing. Like at least my company offer has pushed big time. Like if one person's working, we're all working. Like
yeah,
there shouldn't be one person working with three people sitting in the bay. And I've even like in previous episodes of the podcast, so it's like if a rookie comes up to you and says, "Hey, let's do this" or something, like don't give him no shit about it. Just get up and do it. Because
yeah,
like I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like if he wants to work on something, who's to say that I haven't done that since I was a rookie or I haven't done it in a year or so? Like it's only going to make you better by helping them out. So, man. Well, what other little tips and tricks do you got rolled up your sleeve?
um, to anybody new out there trying to get in the fire service, I get asked all the time on my TikTok channel, like, what can I do? How can I stand out? I give the same answer every time. Be the hardest working motherfucker, no matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're in the academy. I don't care if you're in the medic academy. I don't care if you're on the ground floor, on an EMS call. Does not matter. You outwork everybody. That work ethic will show itself compared to all of the other lazy dudes, and everybody will want to have you on their crew. That is how you stand out. That is how you become a good fireman. And I'm a firm believer of that. That is my one solid tip to give to anybody.
Yeah. And to add on to that, like outworking anybody or doing everything you can, like one thing that I would honestly say is like if you're going out for like an agility test or something like that, like put the effort in, give everything you've got because we can train somebody to do more push-ups. We can train somebody to have more cardio. What we can't train is the heart and the quit. Like if you've got the heart and you don't have the quit, like if you're not going to quit and you're giving everything you've got every day, like that's the person I want because they're going to get better with time. But it's like I don't care if somebody can do 150 push-ups right off the get-go. Great, awesome. You can do a bunch of push-ups. But are you going to quit on me when things get tough in 25 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my knuckles. So this stands for it only gets worse, and this says grit right there. That's a
Mhm.
reminder myself, when that shit's getting hard, look at that a little bit and like, okay, this is the mental. We don't quit. We
Yep.
don't do that.
And that's, you know, it's not so much we're quitting like on ourselves either, because when you do quit, the first thing you're quitting on yourself.
Hmm.
But now, who else are you quitting on? Now you're quitting on your company, and then ultimately, who are we here for? You're here for your customers, your citizens, your community, whatever you want to call them. You're quitting on them because if you're not putting in the work, you're not putting in the effort. Like I'll say, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Even the physical aspect of it. The day you signed up for this job, like you lost the opportunity to be fat. You lost the opportunity to be out of shape.
Yep.
Like, you know what the job is. If you can't hold the standard, why are you here?
Hmm.
So, and I'm sure it's the same way there as it is here and anywhere else. Like, you've got the big guys. Like, I get it. Things happen. What are you doing to fix it?
I don't know why we have these standardized tests to get into the fire department, but there is no standard physical ability test every year to make sure that you can remain at that department. You
Yep.
guys want to make me go through ACLS and PHTLS and all this shit every year, but man, I can just be totally out of shape. Like I can't stand it. That we need to get a change in the fire service where these
Yep.
dudes that are lazy get held accountable. If you want to keep your job, you better
That's
keep your ass in shape. I'm I'm 230 pounds without gear. So if you are
mhm.
not in good shape, good luck if I go down,
Yeah.
and that's how I look at it. All my boys, they know I'm a powerhouse, dude. Like we are just saying, I don't have any quit, and I'm very strong, and they're very confident in my ability.
Mhm.
If God forbid something happened to them, that they're probably going to make it out if I'm there.
Yeah.
You
And
know, so
that's when I came back or when we talked a little bit about like I've got a fire chief that's all about firemen being firemen. So I had that conversation with him a year ago. Like, hey, we have a standard to get hired. We don't have a standard to keep that. He listened. So now, there's not so much of a disciplinary aspect of it right now, but he just put into effect that everybody, even himself included, is going to do an air consumption test in full gear on air, and we're running our agility course or our
perfect.
our hiring test, and that's you know because at the end of the day, like I'm in shape, I work out, you know, I've completed this test, and it's not just doing it once and then you're done. Like for me, because everybody did it a little different because there was a little lack of communication going into it a little bit. Um, but for me, when I started, I went 100% until I was sucking face. There was no taking a break. There was no resting. It was give it all you've got, and because it's an air consumption,
Mhm.
I can sit in a classroom and skip breathe for 3 hours. What can I get out of that bottle in gear, working 100%?
Yeah.
And so for me, I was right at 14 and a half, 15 minutes. And our agility test, I made it a round and a half. Um, my goal for next year, I want to be able to do 2 complete rounds. But what I did prove to myself is, for one, I maintained the same standard because I was able to do what I did 6 years ago, 6 years later. And when we get hired, you're doing it in a weighted vest, a helmet, and gloves.
Hmm.
Well, now I've proved to myself that my time's a little bit slower. I think my time was maybe a minute off from what it was 6 years ago, but now I'm in full gear with an air pack, breathing air.
Hmm.
I've maintained that standard, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, some people did even better. We've got a captain on, and part of our test is we got a 220-pound dummy drag. You know, it's not a small dummy. I'm 180 pounds. This dummy weighs more than I do. Everybody knows how mannequins work. They don't bend. They're dead weight. They're completely astronomical to move. We got a captain that just did 4 rounds on one bottle. Like, dude's a workhorse.
Yeah.
Those are the guys I want to work with every day. They're going to come in, fuck shit up when it's time to get the job done, and then go home and make sure your peoples are okay. So, and that's the standard I'm looking for. And even, we've got some people that didn't do the best on the agility course, but they never quit and they never gave up. I'm okay with that too, because they've recognized the areas they need to work on and they're going to work towards it for next year.
Well, and you can work with that.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop. You can, like we were saying earlier, you can improve their skill set, but you cannot put that dog in them.
Yeah. And
They have to be born with that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like the quit factor. It's like, if you're not going to quit on me, I don't care if you're physically the best. Like, if you're not going to quit, I'll take you all day long.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Scott, it has been a great conversation with you today. I can't thank you enough for coming on and having the conversation with me, telling me a little bit about yourself, telling everybody else a little bit. If you've got them handy, if you know them off the top of your head, tell everybody your socials so that way we can get you some support and love on that social media aspect of it.
Cool. So pretty much the only thing I'm posting on right now is my TikTok. My handle is One Day You May and at Fire Guy Scott. So yeah, check me out and please give me a follow.
Awesome,
Thanks for
guys.
having me, bud. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. Y'all go give Scott a follow. Check him out on TikTok. If he does open up other things in the future, I will drop them down in the comments on YouTube. Just to thank somebody else, the Unmonitored Nurse on YouTube, TikTok, Apple Music. He's going to be our intro and outro music moving forward. He was gracious enough to send me a couple of his files, so that way we can get the restriction off on YouTube. So, other than that, my name is Josh. Thanks for listening in on Through the Smoke podcast, and we'll catch you on next week's episode.